Hi, Nayan.
Hi, good morning.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon. At least someone came to make me a company here. Not sure if some people are on holidays now and there's Christmas parties, stuff like that. So it may be just it might as well be just two of us today. So yeah, nevertheless, we have agenda, some stuff to review. For the people who might be watching this on YouTube recording. So let me get that ready in a moment, and we can get started. Okay, so let's get into it. So welcome. Wait, let's see. Well, so we can do one trick. Can we restart the recording by any chance? We would have it kind of clear. Um, I know they do it on the Aries workgroup call. They stopped recording and then they restarted again, but I'm not sure what the trick is. Is there a way to do this manually here? Let me stop sharing for a second and all right, no, I can't do it because I'm not a host of the meeting. So we just have to go with it. So welcome to November 30th, 2023, Aries-vcx community call. Our antitrust policy notice, as displayed on the screen, is in effect. And today we have agenda, mostly kind of a review, not a huge discussion points here. So starting with a kind of general community overview happening. And do you have any items you would like to have in agenda?
In terms of community, I don't think so.
No, like sorry, I guess in general, I kind of made some confusion here. Um, if you have any amendments to the agenda.
Um, so let me see. We did see a couple of PRs fixing some
Oh,
long-standing.
yeah, we actually, I think we are missing a bunch of work in the review section. Yes, indeed. I didn't do this properly this time around. Yeah. Overview of recent work done. So we're missing some stuff here. So we had some fixes from you, but dating all the way back to like 2 weeks ago, so we can go from the beginning. Reorganize crates, move agents to the new route. Yes, that reorganization increased some fix. Directories again. And also fixes to mediator and refactoring. UniFi reorg, display trait, encryption envelope, uh, README update, and the endpoint fix and lifetime fix. So yeah, this was a big one. So I'll put it here. Let me edit this page. So I did this big one. Um, Removing the mediation crate, derived display. I'll just put this as a minor, think, derived macro updates and encryption envelope. Yeah. Um, and then the endpoint for the mediator. All right. And one more fix. Explicit lifetime. Uh, I think that is there anything I missed by chance?
Clippy fixes, refactoring. Yeah, that's was probably it. If we have time during this discussion, then I could maybe like show a small way to make life of VS Code users easier in terms of clippy errors.
Oh, sure. Yeah, why not? I can do that. Let's put that as at the end as kind of uh you know what? I think we can do it as part of a review here, perhaps. Clippy advice for VS users. Okay. Okay, let's resume back. So now I think now we have agenda complete. If anything comes up, we can still discuss at the end. So just a small report. Yesterday was interesting Aries group call. We had uh, we had a second mentorship program demo from Swapnil. And then there was also discussion about the out of band protocol per my issue here. I think the we so the idea was the ask was whether we can deprecate embedded format of services, and it turns out that this is being used by AFJ and Akapai, I guess out there in the wild. So this will be breaking change for those. So probably no change to out of band protocol is gonna be happening, uh, and we'll just kind of move on. Ultimately, we get a problem. We get rid of the problem I'm pointing out here as we move to DISCOM v2. So uh, it's not a huge problem, but it will make life of developers easier. So just a small bit here. And yeah, we have a mentorship presentation from Swapnil presenting you UniFFI wrapper and the demo. So this is the second piece of the puzzle, composing our overall mentorship work landscape. So we had a month ago, we had the mediator from Nine, and yesterday we had a demo from Swapnil for the UniFi wrapper and the Android demo. And that also, I guess, officially concludes our mentorship program. We don't have Swapnil here to kind of wrap it up all together out here, but nevertheless, I'm very happy and proud what both of you folks have managed to achieve, and this is good basis for the next steps and for actually building uh, real world mobile apps on top of Aries-vcx, especially in conjunction with the mediator. Um, I think the only piece we are missing, perhaps, is kind of the bridge between the two, some sort of client component. There is a client to a degree in the mediator tests, in mediator service tests, but I guess it would be nice to have some component, some user-friendly component to manage the mediator from the applications such as the UniFFI wrapper or the Android app. But yeah, that was anyway out of scope. Just I guess one of the perhaps one item on the roadmap in the future. Um, there's also gonna be mentorship program in 2024, which we definitely want to join. Um, just need to come up with the project ideas yet. And if you would have any idea, or if you would like to become mentor, you know, then don't hesitate to be proactive in this term. There'll be space for. I was talking to Min, the manager of the project, and she said that the plan is to continue the program in the next year. So I'm very excited about that. What other projects and what other mentees we gonna have.
Yes, definitely. I would be really interested in helping out the future mentee and like being a part of that effort to get somebody
Mm.
else on board. And I would also like to mention that uh, like this end of the mentorship, I would also like to congratulate you, Patrick, for driving these two mentorships to completion. And like both of us mentees have completed our mentorship and have produced something that is useful to the Aries community. So yeah, thank you very much. And like you've done a great job in getting us through the end here, and to like organize the whole team. You and George have together enabled two mentees to finish this mentorship. So, yeah, congratulations to you too.
Thank you so much. It feels very wholesome. It's amazing. It was a pleasure to work with you and it's Swapnil. You know, it ultimately the mentorship experience. I think obviously the Linux Foundation support is important, but from the day-to-day basis, it what matters the most is how much I think both mentees and the mentors how much they care and how much effort they are willing to put on the line, and I
Mm-hmm.
think this was perfect from honestly from both sides. Um, uh, yeah, I mean, we cared about the projects, and so did you. So this was just purely wholesome experience to go through these 6 months. It was great. And yeah, well, congratulations to you, Nan, as you accepted our offer to become officially our co-maintainer of Aries-vcx. So that's very exciting, and that makes me even happier that we kind of grew our team.
Happy to be here, and it's a pleasure to be working with the rest of the maintainers and you.
Indeed, indeed. All right, let's go ahead with the rest of the agenda. Um, so overview of the recent work done. As we updated this, all the missing items. Now we should have it complete. So first and foremost, we have completed our uh, repo reorganization, a number of incremental steps. So now we have 3 directories up in the root of the repo, which it's not really a challenging technical task to do, but it's an important change conceptually, as we now kind of pivoted ourselves to be a project, it's Aries-vcx repo, to be hosting essentially 2 different project families. One, all the Aries group of projects, everything Aries related, Aries agents, Aries messages, protocols, wrappers, and whatnot. And the DIT core, which is very close to Aries. We use it in Aries, but it's not Aries. And this can be reused by anyone in any project. There's still work that needs to be done to make it more user-friendlier, improve onboarding. Apparently, we're missing some README on this root page. That's for sure. And also the individual crates, I think there's definitely work to be done yet to improve them and make them more developer-friendly, improve the dev experience. But yeah, it's important step in evolution, and it begs for questions, as we already opened this up before. What should the repo be named as? And I don't have an answer to that. We had a bunch of ideas and suggestions how to go about it, but I guess let's take a time, and uh, when we feel like the time has really come, then we can consider some rebranding of the repo. At the same time, it's obviously somewhat disrupting if we change the repo name, as people usually come to the repo as like, oh, Aries-vcx, but if we rename it can be somewhat confusing. So let's grow ourselves into the right moment where we really are confident about doing the rename. So yeah, nevertheless, the restructuring is there. Next up, we have revived our did exchange effort. So did exchange has been merged to main. Kudos to Mira with his original PR. Then I added some amendments here to sync it up with all the changes that happened since the time Mira has originally coined in this did exchange implementation. And yeah, so now it's in the main. It's not considered stable per se yet, but we are getting there with some of the work which is currently in progress. Then we had some macro improvements for the display procedural macro we have here. So this has been merged today. Basically, a macro display which enables to derive display implementation for any struct, including now including the structs which are using generics, which wasn't supported before. So there was some improvements had to be done here, but it works nicely. So we have this now in main. There was some refactoring done to the encryption envelope, which came up in progress of improving the exchange implementation. Basically, just uh, just kind of internal refactoring, essentially. So the internal functions don't take diddoc anymore, but rather just like more granular, the minimal information they need. But changing the outer interface would be more disruptive, as that was taking as argument the Aries diddoc, which is part of the legacy diddoc legacy crate. Ultimately, we want to get rid of this usage of Aries diddoc anywhere. It wouldn't be so easy yet, but as other functions in the rest of the code base is calling this, passing in this legacy diddoc. So this will happen later. So for now, just internal implementation, which didn't have any outside effects and was easy to done in isolation. Then we had the Clippy fix. This was great help, man, because you done this before I realized that there is a problem. So it was something with the lifetimes, right? Yeah. So we had a Clippy failing on main, and this fixed it. I'm not sure why it started to happen out of nowhere. If the
I
Rust
believe
version.
that,
Hmm?
yes, the Rust team has added a new lint in Rust Nightly that makes this uh, something. It's something that people should note because they're changing the implementation of the compiler. Like this is what I've read. So they're changing the implementation of compiler, and previously the lifetimes were being elided, like they were being guessed by the compiler, but now they have a change of heart and they don't want to automatically assume that it's going to be static. Like they want the flexibility for the lifetime to be something else. So they're like they've started the work of notifying projects that, yeah, like you should be explicit here because you can't rely on this being elided in the future. So yeah,
Right.
they've started adding the lint to the nightly, and then like soon it'll be deprecated. Like the code won't work anymore. So right
Mm.
now it's just a warning, but in the future the code might not work anymore.
Right. Yeah, yeah. Well, first of all, thanks for elaboration on this. And I just thought that I thought we have fixed version of Clippy, or we have fixed version of the nightly, fixed nightly version to some particular date in past, but maybe we don't. I mean, apparently we don't, because otherwise it wouldn't just start failing out of blue sky. So yeah, it's good to be aware of that. And thanks for fixing this. I had some PRs open, start failing on this, and then I realized, oh wait, Nan has already fixed this since in May. So after rebasing that, that the issue was resolved for me as well. Thanks for that. Oh, so now we are coming to this. You had some Clippy advice you wanted to share for the VS Code users? Uh, Nan?
Yes, I'm here, just sharing my
Ah,
screen. Is
okay.
that visible?
I'll stop sharing. Yes, I can see our screen.
Um, okay, that's good. So, is it visible in the presentation? I'm not sure if.
I
Uh,
see your yeah, I see your code editor.
okay. So, just to clarify, like in my view of the Zoom meeting, I can see our names, but like, I can't see my screen shared. So, like, like which version of the Zoom is being recorded? Like, is my screen being shown?
Yes, your screen, your visual code is being seen right now.
All right. So as you can see in VS Code, in some of the files where this macro is being used, message type, uh, it gives this red squiggly lines saying that something is wrong here. And you can see that it says something about proc macro, message type not expanded, no proc macros present for crate. Now, this is a persistent problem that you see wherever this macro is being used. And like I've talked about this with some of the other developers working on this, and yeah, like the general thing is to just ignore it. But it can be a bit messy. Like when you're working code, you expect the signals that you get to be reliable. So if you're getting a signal that there's some problem here, then it can be confusing whether like should you ignore it or not and stuff like that. So there's a way to quieten down this problem because it actually isn't a problem. There's some problem in the Rust analyzer, I suppose. Like I'm not sure the exact uh, issue where it's arising, but there is a fix for this. So you can go to your settings and look for Rust. Sir. Yes, you can look for the diagnostics which are enabled and add this diagnostic as an ignored diagnostic. So if you just paste this small tag here, unresolved proc macro, like this is the error that usually comes up in VS Code, but things compile and run well anyway. So like this is a false flag basically. So if you just add this to the uh, disable diagnostics, then this goes away. Yeah, so it all looks nice now. There's no issue, and you can uh, code happily from now on, like without all these false flags.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice,
so this is
nice.
one
I, I
suggestion.
guess I guess smaller risk is that you disable like it disables this one, but if there's actual problem of that type with some other macro, perhaps this would also disable it, right? I guess just something to be aware of.
Yes, that's a possibility. Yeah, that's one possibility. Currently in Aries-vcx, there doesn't seem to be that sort of issue. And I think that if there actually is a problem, then when you compile it, you'll get to
Hmm.
know.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, you'll find it out anyway.
that's right.
And another small thing. So in VS Code, you can also expand macros, and it's sort of hidden in the settings. But if you just do Control Shift P, that's open the command prompt in VS Code and look for macro. Yeah, just search for macro and you'll find this setting, expand macro recursively. So this is a shortcut. I have the key binding right now. By default, there is no key binding set. So that's why people aren't able to expand macros like by default in VS Code. But if you just add a key binding here, then whenever like you want to look at what some macro is doing, you can just use your key binding, and it'll show you the expanded macro there. So yeah, this is just a small trick that you can use to be more aware and like have visibility into how your macros are expanding.
Yeah, that's this is one feature I'm missing in IntelliJ. I mean, you can always use cargo expand to do this stuff, but you have to do entire file, and it's not in IDE. So I'm not sure there's a way to have this built-in expansion in IntelliJ, but I'm missing that a lot. So might be switching hopping between the two, maybe um, between the two editors going forward, because yeah, this is really nice.
Yes, so that's about it. I will stop my screen share.
All right, thank you. Uh, I'll share back and we can continue and whatever we have left here. So, yeah, so we had next up we had mediator refactoring. Not sure if there's anything I'm missing here. I have these two items. So um the cleaning you've done, removing lots of code, basically the entire kind of legacy crate, sub crate you had there. Um, and then the other was the fix for the endpoint based on yesterday's discussion. Just
Yes.
you had a great question there. Um, is there anything you would like to, I don't know, mention about these, or if I missed anything by chance?
So basically, we've deprecated most of the older work that was done and like refreshened it. And currently, there's more work being done. So this was the foundation on which further work can be done. So we've deprecated the older code and all the craft that comes along with it. So now we can focus on the mediator and like to streamline the mediator and to have it as one monolithic entity. And yeah, so now that it's one monolithic mediator binary, we can do more things to make the code nicer. For example, better error handling throughout the code and stuff like that. So work for better errors is has begun, and yeah, I'll be taking suggestions from others in the team here in regards to the errors. So there are some cases where error handling can be difficult. For example, in uh, just a minute. Yes, for example, in closures that don't return a result, if you're trying to decode something which might give an error, then hopping that error, that result from that closure which doesn't return an error to an external function that does return an error. So yeah, there's sort of this error gymnastics that I'm dealing with right now, and
Hmm.
yeah,
I
looking
guess
forward to it.
that kind of bring us over here to the work in progress with the better errors
Yes,
PR we have opened up.
yes, exactly. So there's some challenges that I'm dealing with here, which we can discuss again in private sometime.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess this is still in progress, so I think it's a good start, but we'll see where it's gonna bring us. Um, so next up in the stuff in progress, we have Oscar implementation being worked on by Andre. Um, don't have him on the call today. There's two PRs opened by him. This is the latest one. I didn't have a chance to have a much look at it yet. So just kind of ad hoc opening this up. I seen that Mira had a look, left some comments. Let me just quickly take a peek out of curiosity what this looks like. So we have did wallet created. Okay, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens. That's opened and in progress. Also in continuous reviews. Well, at least from Mira. Mira did work on that front. I reviewed the previous one, which Andra opened. We'll keep looking at that to make sure it goes the right trajectory. And other thing which is in progress is our changes to the document and removal of the generics on it. So that's something I'm working on right now. I opened a PR. There's still a fair amount of work to be done. I'm getting it now compiled. Not all of the tests are getting compiled. No, I think they do compile. There's clippy warnings and stuff like that. So there's still effort to be done, and also it needs to be cleaned up. Right now, the delta shows up like it's almost no difference ultimately, but there's lots of in the new version, lots of stuff is commented and probably can be deleted. So ultimately, we should be getting rid of some code. There should be less additions than removals. The main thing here is basically where this started was all the way from the bottom in the did core. Let's have a quick look. Did doc. Basically removing generics on the document and on the service object. And it's a small change. I mean, what can one little letter do? But the trickles up, all these trickle up effects have a like wide reach to the rest of the code base, which led me ultimately to do refactoring of did exchange, and some of the wrappers we had around the documents and changes to DID resolvers, stuff like that. So I'll be yet documenting these changes, but that's just to roughly give idea what this encapsulate and what it includes. Started with the generics, and then it ended up with refactoring of all the stuff above it. As once they remove the generics, things got a lot simpler, higher up, and the opportunity was just like asking for the code above was just asking for refactor. It would be harder not to do refactor than to actually do it. So it's a big PR, but it just kind of all these changes kind of go hand in hand together. And I believe it's going to be a nice result once this is done.
Yeah, looks a lot simpler now without the generics.
Yeah, it has a good reasons to remove the generics in this case. Yeah, and ultimately, I guess that will be separate PR. But once this is closed, and we can add the support for DIT Peer 4, then add support for DIT Peer 4 to DIT Exchange, and yeah, just have a DIT Exchange even more robust, having supporting both DIT Peer 2 and DIT Peer 4. Yeah, I guess that's what's in progress right now. the plans, there's some items in the plan section from the last week. So obviously we still want to like start publishing. Eventually we want to start publishing these components somewhat individually and have a separate CIs for them. Or maybe at least like have some separation between the DIT core and Aries. Have a separate CIs. I guess whenever we do modification to Aries, we don't really need to run any of the DIT core related kind of CI jobs, which we do now probably. So it would make sense to have some isolation. And yeah, DIT conversion to POC that's just out there in the air in the clouds. I'm not sure who, when, how it's gonna get picked up, but I'm looking forward for this. DITCOM V2 is it's addressing. It took learnings from DITCOM V1, for example, even in terms of the out of band protocol. In DITCOM V2, it's being DITCOM V2 is a lot more DID centric, which is nice. It makes it's easier to think about and easier to argue about. And well, that brings us to the end of this meeting. Unless there's any other unless there's any other items and you would like to discuss.
No, I guess this is it.
All right. Well, then we covered everything. Stop sharing. And yeah, thank you for making me company here and sharing your knowledge. It's a little more fun to have someone to go this through with than just doing podcast. All right. Well, have a nice day and it's end of the week. Have a wonderful weekend as well. And this call will be happening again in 2 weeks. So anyone feel free to join. Thank you and cheers.
Thank you.